Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. When society crumbles, gold and silver won't save you. No one's trading bars of gold for food or safety. When the grid goes down, when the systems we rely on stop working, survival isn't about shiny metals, it's about what works. It's about what keeps you alive. The truth is, when collapse comes, value flips. The smartest preppers out there, they're not hoarding treasure or stacking cash. They're securing the items that become survival currency when the lights go out for good. Think about it. What's gold worth when you're hungry, cold, or sick? Nothing. But a can opener, a water filter, a way to stay warm? That's priceless. And here's the thing, collapse doesn't happen overnight. It's not one big explosion of chaos. It's a slow unraveling. Bit by bit, the comforts we take for granted disappear, and the things we ignored yesterday become the difference between life and death. This list isn't just about gear, it's about survival. 7 products that seem ordinary today but will be worth more than gold when the world as we know it falls apart. I'll break down why they matter, how to use them, and why you need to think about this now. Because when the time comes, the people who laughed at this, they'll be the ones begging for a roll of duct tape. Let's get into it. 1. Steel wool, fire in your pocket. When the world as we know it collapses, fire becomes your lifeline. Forget gold, forget silver, fire is survival. And steel wool, it's your secret weapon. Most people see steel wool as nothing more than a kitchen cleaning pad, something you toss under the sink and forget about. But for those who know better, it's a portable ignition system that works when everything else failed. Here's the deal, fine-grade steel wool ignites instantly with just a spark. Pair it with a 9-volt battery, and you've got a fire starter that works in the rain, in freezing temperatures, and even in total darkness. No need for lighter fluid, matches, or fancy gadget. Just raw, reliable ignition when you need it most. And when you're cold, wet, and desperate to boil water or cook food, that's worth more than any shiny metal. But steel wool isn't just about fire. It's a multi-tool in disguise. It scrubs rust off tools, sharpens dull edges, and restores corroded surfaces. In a survival situation where every piece of gear needs to pull double duty, steel wool is a lightweight, compact powerhouse. And here's the kicker, most people don't even think to stock it. Now imagine this. You're out in the wild, your matches are soaked, and your lighter's out of fuel. What's your plan? A Ziploc bag of fine-grade steel wool could be the difference between life and death. And in a barter situation, it's pure gold. People will trade food, shelter, and even protection for the ability to make fire on demand. My take, I don't just stock steel wool, I test it. Every batch gets a trial run before it goes into my go bag, my truck kit, or my jacket pocket. Because when the grid goes down, fire equals life. So let me ask you, do you have steel wool in your kit? Have you tested it in the rain, in the dark, or when your hands are shaking from stress? Because in a real collapse, the guy who can't make fire doesn't last long. 2. Tampons. Sterile, sealed, and survival ready. Most people hear tampons and think of one thing. But in a survival scenario, tampons are one of the most versatile and valuable items you can carry. They're compact, sterile, and incredibly useful in ways most people never consider. Let's start with the medical angle. In a collapse, access to clean, packaged wound dressings will be rare, unless you've prepped extensively. A tampon, however, is a ready-made wound pack. If someone suffers a deep cut, puncture, or stab wound, a tampon can absorb blood and slow the bleeding until proper treatment is available. It's not a perfect solution, but in a pinch, it can save a life. But that's just the beginning. Tampons are also excellent fire starters. The cotton ignites quickly and burns hot, making it an ideal tool for starting a fire under pressure or in damp conditions. Pair it with a spark or flame, and you've got a reliable way to get a fire going when you need it most. And there's more. Tampons can be used to pre-filter dirty water, removing visible debris before it goes through your main purification system. While it won't make the water safe to drink on its own, it extends the life of your filter by keeping out larger particles. They can also serve as nasal plugs for nosebleeds or smoke exposure. And yes, they still fulfill their original purpose, which makes them a valuable barter item. Think about it. Hygiene doesn't stop being important during a collapse. Someone dealing with discomfort, embarrassment, or panic will trade food, tools, or even favors for a simple solution. Show up with sealed hygiene supplies when no one else has them, and you've got leverage. My take, I carry tampons in every major kit I own. They're lightweight, sterile, and take up almost no space. I've even used one during a training drill to pack a blade cut. It worked until we got proper medical care. So here's the question, are you stocked up? Do you know how to use one in a survival situation? Because when the world falls apart, the guy with real solutions, not gold, is the one who comes out on top. 3. Mouse traps. Small, silent, and deadly effect. When people think about survival gear, they picture big-ticket items, rifles, generators, bunkers, but the truth is, it's often the small, overlooked tools that make the biggest difference. Mouse traps are one of those items. Cheap, lightweight, and incredibly versatile. They're a must-have for anyone serious about prepping. The obvious use? Catching rodents. In a long-term collapse, your food storage will attract pests, and if you think you can just deal with it when the time comes, you're already behind. A single rat infestation can wipe out your supplies, contaminate your shelter, and spread disease. Standard snap traps keep things under control without the mess or risk of poison. But here's where it gets interesting. Mouse traps are more than just pest control. They're mechanical devices that can be adapted for multiple uses. With a little cord or wire, you can turn a mouse trap into a perimeter alarm. Set a trip line to the trap, and when it's triggered you get a loud snap that alerts you to move. It's silent when idle, instant when triggered, and impossible to miss in the dead of night. Mouse traps can also be used to build small game snares. With some bait and light rigging, you've got a hands-free trap that can catch birds or squirrels while you focus on other tasks. It's passive income, survival style, and let's not forget their barter value. Most people don't think to stock mouse traps, which makes them incredibly valuable in a collapse. Show up with a pack of brand new traps when someone's camp is overrun by rats, and they'll trade you food, tools, or even medicine, just to reclaim their space. My take? I stock mouse traps in every long-term supply bin. I vacuum seal packs of 5, complete with string and bait, and I always carry a couple in my go bag. They're quiet, effective, and completely underestimated. So let me ask you, do you have any traps in your kit? Have you ever set one in the field? Because if you're not catching, alerting, or bartering, you're just waiting. And in a collapse, waiting is a death sentence. 4. Battery-powered aquarium air pump. The water saver you didn't know you needed. At first glance, a battery-powered aquarium air pump might seem like an odd choice for survival gear, but when society collapses, this unassuming tool could be the difference between life and death. Why? Because water isn't just about access, it's about keeping it safe and drinkable. Picture this, you've stockpiled barrels or containers of water, thinking you're set for the long haul. But here's the problem, stagnant water doesn't stay clean. It becomes a breeding ground for bacteria, algae, and other contaminants. The last thing you want in a survival situation is to get sick from drinking your own emergency supply. That's where the aquarium air pump comes in. Originally designed to keep fish alive during power outages, this little device can oxygenate your stored water, keeping it fresh and discouraging bacterial growth. Just a few minutes of use each day can prevent stagnation and extend the usability of your water supply. It's not a purifier, but it's a game changer for long-term storage. But the benefits don't stop there. If you're growing food in a hydroponic system, this pump becomes essential. It helps circulate water, delivering nutrients to your plants and preventing root. In a world where every calorie counts, keeping your crops alive could mean the difference between thriving and barely surviving. Need more versatility? This pump can also be rigged for low-pressure ventilation in sealed spaces or used to provide airflow in improvised setups. And because it runs on batteries, you're not dependent on solar panels or fuel. It's lightweight, quiet, and easy to store, making it a perfect barter item. Imagine trading one of these to someone with spoiled water. That's not just a trade, that's leverage. I keep multiple pumps in my supplies, each with backup batteries and pre-attached tubing for quick deployment. I test them regularly to ensure they're ready to go. So here's the question, are you just storing water, or are you protecting? Because when clean water becomes more valuable than gold, this $15 tool could save your life and your stash. 5. Graphite lubricant. Silent precision for survival. When the world falls apart, every movement matters. Every door you open, every tool you use, every lock you turn, it all needs to work smoothly, and more importantly, silently. That's why graphite lubricant is a survival essential most people overlook. Unlike traditional oil-based lubricants, graphite is a dry powder. It doesn't attract dust, doesn't gum up in extreme temperatures, and doesn't break down over time. In a survival scenario, where dirt and debris are everywhere, this makes it invaluable. Oil might work for a while, but in a dusty, chaotic environment, it turns into a sticky mess that can jam your gear. Graphite, on the other hand, keeps everything running clean and smooth. Let's talk about its uses. First, it's perfect for locks, hinges, and zipper. Imagine trying to open a safe house door, only to have it creak loud enough to alert everyone within earshot. With graphite, you can move like a ghost, silent and unnoticed. It's also ideal for firearms, ensuring they operate smoothly without the risk of attracting grit that could cause a malfunction. But the benefits don't stop there. Graphite is a lifesaver in high-risk zones where noise can mean danger. Whether it's a squeaky gate, a stuck drawer, or a jammed latch, this lubricant lets you fix the problem without drawing attention. And in a barter economy, where people are desperate to maintain their tools and gear, graphite becomes a high-value trade item. You're not just offering maintenance, you're offering stealth, precision, and control. I've personally used graphite to silently open a rusted gate, fix a stuck rain barrel hatch, and even help a stranger unlock a seized bike chain. That last one earned me extra rations in a trade, all because I had what they didn't. My take? I carry a small tube of graphite in every kit I own. It's lightweight, lasts forever, and has saved me more times than I can count. So ask yourself, are you prepared for silent movement? Because in a world where noise can get you killed, graphite might just be the most valuable tool you never thought to pack. 6. Mosquito net. The silent shield against nature's smallest killers. When people think about survival, they picture big threats, looters, food shortages, or power outages. But the truth is, some of the deadliest dangers come from the smallest sources, insects. That's why a mosquito net isn't just a convenience, it's a lifesaver. In a collapse, you're not sleeping in your cozy bed, you're in makeshift shelters, vehicles, or out in the open. And when you're exposed, you're at the mercy of swarms of mosquitoes and other biting insects. One night of bites isn't just annoying, it can be dangerous. Open scratches can get infected, and worse, mosquitoes can carry diseases like malaria, dengue, or West Nile virus. A mosquito net changes the game. It's lightweight, easy to pack, and doesn't require any power or chemicals to work. Just hang it up, zip it closed, and you've got a barrier between you and the buzzing chaos outside. And let's not underestimate the importance of sleep. In a survival situation, sleep isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Without it, your decision-making falters, your energy drains, and your chances of survival plummet. But the benefits of a mosquito net go beyond just physical protection. It's also a morale boost. In a world where everything feels out of control, having a small safe space to rest can make all the difference. And in a group setting, it's a tool for privacy and comfort, which are rare commodities in a collapse. Now let's talk trade. Imagine someone who hasn't slept in days because they're being eaten alive by bugs. You pull out a brand new mosquito net, and suddenly, you're holding something more valuable than gold. People will trade food, tools, or even protection for the chance to sleep peacefully. My take: I keep 2 nets in my supplies, one for personal use, and one for barter. Both are sealed and tested, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. I've seen firsthand how much people are willing to give up just for a single night of bug-free sleep. So ask yourself, are you prepared to protect yourself from the smallest threats? Because in a collapse, the guy with the net isn't just surviving, he's thriving. 7. High-quality shoe insoles. The unsung hero of mobility. When the grid goes down and vehicles stop running, your feet become your primary mode of transportation. Yet most preppers overlook one critical detail. What happens when your boots wear out? Your knees start to ache, or you're covering miles of rough terrain every day. That's where high-quality shoe insoles come in. In a collapse, movement is survival. You're walking to find water, foraging for food, relocating to safer areas, or patrolling your perimeter. And if your feet fail, your entire plan falls apart. Blisters, arch pain, and shin splints might not sound like life-threatening issues, but they slow you down, drain your energy, and make you vulnerable. A good pair of insoles with proper arch support and shock absorption can make all the difference. They extend the life of your boots, reduce strain on your legs and back, and make every step a little easier. And when you're carrying heavy gear, or moving under stress, that extra comfort isn't just nice, it's essential. But insoles aren't just about physical relief, they're a psychological boost. When your body is breaking down,
Small comforts can keep you going, sliding a fresh pair of cushioned insoles into your boots after weeks of hard travel feels like a second wind for your feet. It's a morale boost that keeps you mobile and in the fight. And let's not forget their value in a barter economy. Show up in a camp where people are limping from overuse, and a sealed pair of high-end insoles becomes a medical-grade item. People will trade food, tools, or even medicine for the chance to walk without pain. My set, I keep 3 pairs ready to go. One in my boots, one in my go bag, and one in reserve. All are pre-fitted and tested, because I know that if I lose mobility, I lose my edge. So here's the question. Are you treating your feet like the engines of your survival? Or are you assuming your factory insoles will hold up when the roads turn to rubble? Because in a world where every step counts, the guy who can still run is the guy who stays alive. 8. Duct tape. The ultimate survival fix. When society collapses, the world becomes a place where improvisation is the key to survival. And if there's one tool that embodies versatility, it's duct tape. This isn't just a roll of sticky material. It's a survival essential that can solve problems you haven't even thought of yet. Let's start with the basics. Duct tape can repair almost anything. Got a tear in your tent or tarp? Patch it up. Need to fix a broken tool handle? Wrap it tight. Shoes falling apart after miles of walking? Reinforce them with duct tape. It's waterproof, durable, and sticks to just about any surface, making it a go-to solution for quick fixes in the field. But duct tape isn't just for repairs. It's a survival multi-tool. You can use it to create makeshift bandages, secure splints, or even seal wounds in an emergency. Need to build a shelter? Duct tape can hold branches and tarps together. Want to make a fire starter? Wrap some duct tape around a stick. It burns surprisingly well. And then there's its value in a barter economy. When resources are scarce, a roll of duct tape becomes a high-demand item. People will trade food, water, or other supplies for something that can fix their gear, secure their shelter, or keep their shoes from falling apart. My take, I keep multiple rolls in my supplies. One in my go bag, one in my vehicle, and a few in long-term storage. I've used it to patch up everything from a torn backpack to a leaking water container. It's lightweight, compact, and endlessly useful. So ask yourself, do you have duct tape in your kit? Because when the world falls apart, the ability to fix, build, and improvise will be worth more than gold. And the guy with duct tape, he's the one who can keep going when everything else falls apart. 9. Mylar blankets. Lightweight warmth and protection. When the grid goes down and the temperature drops, staying warm becomes a matter of life and death. That's where Mylar blankets come in. These lightweight, compact sheets of reflective material are more than just emergency gear. They're survival gold. Mylar blankets are designed to retain up to 90% of your body heat, making them incredibly effective in cold conditions. Whether you're stuck in a freezing shelter, caught in a sudden storm, or trying to sleep in the open, a Mylar blanket can keep hypothermia at bay. And because they're windproof and waterproof, they offer protection from the elements that regular blankets just can't match. But warmth is just the beginning. Mylar blankets are incredibly versatile. You can use them to create a makeshift shelter by reflecting heat from a fire, or blocking wind and rain. Need to signal for help? The reflective surface is visible from a distance. Want to collect rainwater? Mylar can be shaped into a water-catching funnel. And let's not forget their psychological value. In a survival situation, comfort and morale are just as important as physical protection. Wrapping yourself in a Mylar blanket after a long cold day can provide a sense of security that keeps you going. In a barter scenario, Mylar blankets are a game changer. They're lightweight, easy to store, and incredibly valuable to anyone caught in harsh conditions. A single blanket could be traded for food, water, or other critical supplies. My take, I stockpile Mylar blankets in every kit I own. They're cheap, compact, and have saved me more than once during cold nights in the field. I even keep a few extras for trade, because I know their value skyrockets when the temperature drops. So here's the question, are you prepared for the cold? Because when the world goes dark and the nights get long, the guy with the Mylar blanket isn't just surviving, he's thrived. 10. Safety pins. Small tools, big impact. Safety pins might seem like a trivial item, but in a survival scenario, they're anything but. These tiny, lightweight tools are incredibly versatile and can solve a surprising number of problems when the world falls apart. Let's start with their most obvious use, fastening, and repairing. Got a tear in your clothing or gear? A safety pin can hold it together until you find a more permanent solution. Need to secure a tarp or blanket? Safety pins can do the job. They're also great for creating makeshift zippers, fixing broken straps, or even holding bandages in place. But safety pins aren't just for repairs. They're also useful for organization. Use them to group small items together, like fishing hooks, keys, or other tiny tools. Need to keep your gear secure? A safety pin can lock zippers or fasten loose straps, preventing your supplies from spilling out. And then there's their value in first aid. A safety pin can be sterilized and used to remove splinters, pop blisters, or even secure a slit. In a pinch, it can act as an improvised suture tool, helping to close a wound when no other options are available. In a barter economy, safety pins are a hidden gem. They're small, lightweight, and incredibly useful, making them a high-value trade item. People will trade food, water, or other supplies for something as simple as a handful of safety pins. My take: I keep a small tin of safety pins in every kit I own. They weigh almost nothing, take up no space, and have proven their worth time and time again. From fixing gear to providing first aid, they're one of the most underrated tools in my arsenal. So ask yourself, do you have safety pins in your kit? Because when the world falls apart, it's the small, overlooked tools that make the biggest difference. And the guy with the safety pin, he's the one who's always ready for the unexpected.